I'm alone and being a family. Okay, so we are at step 5. I gave myself into step 7. So I want it to be step 5 we read. So we already know about the Cotter's model, but this step was already completed when the CEO selected you and other members of the team. Let's look at team. The difference between groups and team. Now, a group is made up of 2 or more individuals who share one or more common interests or characteristics, and its members identify with another due to those traits. So let me name a group, like Destiny's Child. Destiny's Child was a group of 2 or more individuals who share a common interest, singing, harmonizing, and its members identify with one another due to its traits. I can use the Santa Maria Chamber of Commerce. They house diverse group of people, all races, and they set up there and they housed me for a little bit, and it happened. They identified with me. I don't want to leave a bad taste in their mouth. So a team, on the other hand, is a group of people often with different skills and different tasks. Oh, wow. That clicked. I didn't I didn't know that. Who work together on a common project, service, or goal, combining their functions and providing mutual support along the way. It's a lot more that a team do than a group. It's easier for a group than a team. The members share responsibilities for the team's success. Our discussion will focus on a specific kind of team, the work team. Wow, that's a big team, the work team. Like Tesla or Facebook. Facebook's been gone mad, I tell you, mad. Got those gigafactories. I don't know if that's Tesla that got the gigafactories or Mark Zuckerberg has the size of almost Manhattan, I think. In Texas somewhere he's building that. Just think about who runs that, or is it just one center? Like he's building infrastructure. He got to go to build infrastructure. And I'm like, wow, that is so grand. I envy him in a good way. I don't want to be him. I I want to find my own way, for so that people my age and the 84 wave babies can say, if she can do it, I can do it. Make them want to fight for what's right. Why organizations build teams? Teams have an ambiguous feature of corporate America. The primary benefit of teams and teamwork is they allow an organization to achieve goals that individuals working alone may not. So they put them together in teams and they achieve different goals and they come back to the main source. The advantage arises from several factors, including higher quality outcomes and individual contacts. Higher quality outcomes. Teamwork produces outcomes that make better use of resources and yield richer ideas. Here are some of the advantages that teams provide to outcomes. Higher efficiency. Since teams combine the efforts of individuals, they can accomplish more than an individual working alone. That's what I just said. Because teams draw on efforts of many contributors. Because teams draw on efforts of many contributors. What? I got it. I got it. Because teams draw on the effort of many contributors, many other people working with them. They can often complete tasks and activities in less time. More ideas. Each person who works on a problem or set or task may bring different information, knowledge, which can result in solutions and approaches an individual working alone may not have identified. Greater effectiveness. When people coordinate their efforts, they can divide up roles and tasks according to their strengths and increase effectiveness. For example, teamwork in hospital settings has been found to increase patient safety more than when only individual efforts are made to avoid mishaps. That's like in hospital settings, they uh they work together in a team, like at mental institutions. That's a scary thing because you get a group together instead of a team doing various tasks. And you got a group that has similar interests and may not like this person. That is crazy to me. Better context for individuals. The social aspect of teamwork can be positive work experience for team members. Yes. Which can motivate higher performance. Yes. Because team members can rely on other people with shared goals. Yes. They can receive assistance or an encouragement. Y'all don't know. If y'all can do me one favor to the good people out there, encourage one person today, like I was encouraged, as they work on tasks. Such a sport can encourage people to achieve goals they may not have had the confidence to reach on their own. This can lead to greater sense of accomplishment. Therefore, had it went left field, had it went the situation at the chamber went left field, I probably would have had it on my mind talking about it. But they encourage me, and people like that, literally I will break my back for. All I ask in return is respect, which y'all have given faithfully. Types of teams. There are types of work teams, and they range in a degree of autonomy afforded to team members. As with the different styles of management, autocratic, democratic, there are trade offs with each kind of team structure. So it's important to understand when each type of team should be used. Self-managed teams. A self-managed team is a group of employees working together who are accountable for most of all aspects of their task. These work teams determine how they will accomplish their assigned objectives and decide what route they will take to meet them. They are granted responsibility of planning, scheduling, organizing, directing, controlling, and evaluating their own work process. They also select their own members and evaluate their performance. See, that's a group. Oh, they call this a self-managed team. No, the reason why they call it a self-managed team is because they select their own members and evaluate their performance. When you select your own members, you become a group because you have similar interests then. But they tweaked it and called self-management team and evaluate their performance. In that way, they share both managerial and technical tasks. As a result, supervisory positions take on decreased importance and may be eliminated. Electronic Arts is a leading global interactive entertainment software company, EA. You know, at EA Sports. Um, that's not. Did I mess that up? Just fine. Develops, publishes, and distributes interactive software worldwide for video games. Okay, yeah. Personal computers, wireless devices, and internet. The company's 2016 revenues were 3.5 billion and has 8,000 employees and see in more than 23 countries. Electronic Arts launched internal collaborative companies, self-managed teams in 2009 across its globally distributed workforce. That's amazing. 23 different countries, 8,000 employees. That was a correct number. 3.5 billion. Is 3.5 billion says to me, I'm going to make it. It's no way somebody can go bankrupt from 3.5 million. I mean billion, sorry. The communities formed EA were empowered to make decisions. EA communities could recommend the next technology roadmap or change a business process to become more effective or efficient. EA explicitly focuses on light governance structure that promotes the organic interaction, the natural interaction of teams and empowers them to produce a desired business outcome. A project team is a team. So which team was this? They found, where does it say? 8,000. That's pretty cool. They basically self-manage themselves. They work together in teams while self-managing themselves. What a cool way. Project team is a team whose member usually belong to a different group but are assigned activities for the same project. Usually, project teams are only used for a defined period of time and are disbanded. Understood. I was just thinking that. That is a nice spider web way to do that. So let me make sure I got this right. People that belong in different groups are assigned activities for the same project. So they have their different similarity groups. That's one spider web. And then they collaborate and collectively cross over to um, crossover for project teams. So project team belongs in different groups and they disband after the project is deemed complete. So these are temporary. The central characteristics of a project team is modern organization's autonomy and flexibility given the process of meeting their goals. The project team usually consists of a variety of members working under the direction of the project manager, a senior member of the organization. They have to have the right combination of skills, abilities, and personality types to achieve collaborative tension. When companies develop new products, they frequently use project teams. A new product requires expertise from around the company, from marketing, operations, legal, accounting, analysis, sales, engineering, operations, and strategy. That is something that's far out of this world. Marketing, you have to advertise. Operations, you have to house where you're going to be. Legal, you have to make sure you have a lawyer on board. Accounting, you have to make sure you have a tax accountant. Analysis, you have to analyze that accounting and analyze your own shit. Sales, you have to make sure you have the sales coming in order to engineer and operate if needed to engineer and operate, which is like orchestrate and create, and then a strategy. Omitting any of these vital perspectives or getting a factor wrong can cause the new product to fail. Procter and Gamble has become a new product development giant by studying this work process. The company chose a small teams of dedicated employees since part-timers aren't too distracted by other assignments. P&G sets the team goal of winning in the marketplace, not just getting a product out the door. That's true. That I said it. That is a good way to do a job is project teams. Even though it disbands, it makes the right people on board that's focused on the task There's no fear. People fear being fired, but if they're motivated and they love their job, then that's different. A cross-functional team is just what it sounds like, a team that pulls members from across the different functional areas of organization. For example, cross-functional teams may be composed of representatives from production. Oh, wow. That's what that means. Wait, go back. So this one is a group sharing the same similarities. This is just they're pulling people from sales, production, marketing, finance, and legal. I got confused there for a second. The strength of this type of team lies in its members having different functional backgrounds, education, and experience. The diversity of experience aids innovative problem solving and decision making. So the diversity of the experience aids innovative problem solving and decision making. So creation, problem solving, and decision making. Creation, critical thinking, and execution. For example, a cross-functional team might be brought together to review and make recommendations on potential acquisitions or mergers. Unfortunately, the very factors that give us cross-functional team strength can also lead to weaknesses. How? I want to know. I want to guess. I want to guess. I don't want to look. How can it says the very what is it? Yeah, because they're different. Social core cohesion. The hell does that mean? Don't laugh at me. Oh my God. Cohesion, cohesive means to attach. Social cohesions means to attach to cross-functional teams to create a system of, it can be hard. Yeah, everybody be blaming everybody. Oh my God, it's production. Oh my God, it's legal. Legal won't do their job. Different personalities. Um, in a manager-led team, the team members complete the required tasks, but someone outside the team, a manager, performs the executive functions. This is traditional. It's like working at McDonald's. Man, them supervisors be think they be doing some stuff, man. They be like, I'm supervisor at McDonald's. I'd be like, okay, I'm not hating on nobody. All I'm saying, listen to what I'm saying, is they just be like, they don't get enough training. You're a liability to them. You're not even an asset because it is such a high I think it's called turnover or retention. Retention is when you retain. Turnover is when you sit up there and turn over. You either get fired, involuntary, or voluntary quit. And yeah, it's just crazy, man. Hmm. There is an inevitable tension between the degree of manager control in a team and the ability of team members to guide and manage their own actions. Manager-led teams provide more executive control, but they can also hamper creativity and individual expression. So I would say between all of these, it's a time and a place. They're all needed in different ways. So you would sit up there, you would need project teams for um, putting groups, similar minds alike, to assign activities on the same project. And they say it's disband after the project is deemed complete. Um, let's see. But there are assigned activities for the same project. Okay, so people with new companies, new products, who develop new products, they frequently use project teams, which is different groups with similarities, different personalities, different groups of different personalities come into the project teams. Wait, whoa. You never said what was wrong with this. Okay, here it is. So, omitting any of these vital perspectives or getting a factor wrong in different groups, personalities, can cause the new product to fail, or getting something wrong with engineering and operation. Oh, okay. And then this one, cross-functional teams may be composed of representative production. The same things, a little bit similar. The strength, the team lies in its members to have functional groups, functional backgrounds. So they handpick. That is, ooh, cool. Unfortunately, the very factors that give cross-functional teams strength can also lead to it because they be blaming each other. Manager. Okay, I know that one. Virtual teams. Geographic locations where technology to collaborate. I know I didn't have such a great semester last semester. Um, what I do know is that I proved my point. I proved my point. I've interviewed roundtable talk shows under pressure. I've interviewed um, couples That is the hardest job to do under pressure. Even whether I was nervous or not, I got through it. And it gets a piece of my fear chipped off of my shoulder until it's all washed away. So I know I can do virtual teams. I've even coached people, even if for a split second. I had employees. So if I had to choose, I would interview somebody virtually for a job. I don't want to do manager because some people, they don't like manager-led teams. The government is manager-led teams. I like manager-led teams because I don't have to worry about the stress of the next person's luggage or baggage. They tell me what they want me to execute and I execute it. I don't sit up there and worry about what they're doing unless they include me in what they're doing. The higher ups. I could not take God position. I could not take Elon Musk position. I could not take Donald Trump position. I couldn't. Not because I don't have inspirations, greater than that. It's just because it's like, why? What motive? And a manager, maybe I'll start off manager because this is executive functions and then kind of mix it as I get more employees with cross-functional teams, you know, that way it pulls its members from across the sales, marketing, finance, and legal. Okay. I thought extension had more than just 2 digits. IT technology, marketing, human resources. So, okay. So let's try to break this down. Engineering, advertising, social. Oh, you got me on client services. You got me. Client services. It does not look that way. I guess the government set this up that way. I wasn't even looking at the damn picture. I was just looking at the daggone client department they're in, client services. That's like falls under human resources and like sales, possibly. Special projects, human resources, administrator. Cool. There's a lot of people. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I should print this out. I'm gonna make my room. Every class I take from here on out, I'm gonna write and take notes. I take notes. Don't get me wrong. You know, if you gotta still write notes down all the time, like all the time, then that something isn't right. But that like all the time, seriously, I was like, I can't do that. I have to have some time to digest and see what is going to come to mind. And if thoughts start splurging through my mind, then I'll start writing. If I feel like this is an important thought that needs to get on paper, I do carry around a lot of paperwork. So, go back here. Guiding correlation. So I looked up guiding correlation, and that means team building, some type of team like building thing. Okay. I like to do that. I'm sorry. I do that with everything. Conflict resolution strategies. A behavior question job applicants often hear during job interview is how they would handle a conflict situation with a customer or coworker. A behavior question job applicants often hear during a job interview is how they would handle conflict situation with a customer. It's a good question. I have a lot of things on my mind. I should have wrote down what I heard or what was said to me through uh, my mind. That sounds crazy. I know it looks bad. Oh Lord. It wasn't, it doesn't, it's not like it seemed. Okay. So anyway, it's a good question because conflict happens in the workplace. The potential for conflicts exists anywhere two or more motivated people to interact. I took a class on conflict. Most people are conflict adverse, but some have no problem aggressively defending their interests. And some even seem to seek out conflict just for the thrill of it. Those are the sick people that needs to get reset. We need to take that conflict out. Some people are like, leave my motherfucking conflict alone. I like it. Like seriously, even though we're well beyond playground politics, adults can still be bullies in the workplace. It takes skill to handle conflict, even when other or two otherwise good people lose themselves in the heat of the argument. And you know where that comes from? They don't talk about it. Transference. Once you sit up there and you give somebody your negative energy, whether good or bad, you cause a conflict within them. Like today. Today I sat up there and I was at the courthouse, and um I was just minding my own business, trying to, I ended up having a knife in my bag, and I was like so embarrassed. That was number one. Number two, I would have gladly left it in the car, but I gladly threw it away. Um, Three, I just got the stank eye as soon as I sat up there and just walked through the building, after that, four, you know, um, I was helped. The positives were I was helped. The positives were I addressed the situation, but I remained tactful yet stern enough for them to know that I want respect. This isn't a race thing no more. It's 2026. This is a jealousy thing. First, it's worth knowing what conflict is, what it is not, and why it arises. Conflict is the physical or psychological struggle associated with the perception of opposing or incompatible goals. Oh, I want to read this again. So, opposing or incompatible goals, desires, demands, wants, or needs. Conflict is universal and typically arises opposing interests, scarce resources, and interference. But it doesn't necessarily mean relationship between parties in conflict is fundamentally broken. All relationship progress through times of conflict and collaboration. How we manage these moments either reinforces or destroys the relationship. Rather than viewing conflict from a entirely negative frame of reference, we should view it as an opportunity for clarification, learning, growth, and even reinforcement of the relationship. Learning is my thing. I want to learn from conflict. I was talking to one of the ladies at the courthouse, and people directly, it wasn't, I'm not saying the employees were crap there. All I'm saying is that the women walking next to me or behind me were profusely, overtly too much. You'd be like, that's too much. And they'd be like, no, just a little. Is it a little or a lot? And you'd be like, it's too much hackling overtly. It was sad. And it always seems that how people get cocky is when it always seems to happen. And I told y'all about that last week of what happened to me when I was, how they got loud in a center where I was at. And I'm like, do I need that again? It happened again? Is that a coincidence? Or did it, was it real? Was it towards me? You know, I didn't even get mad. I just let them walk out. I said, I paused for a second. I calmly told her, I'll wait until they leave. If it was a setup, oh well, it didn't work. Conflict is the physical and I said that again. All relationships progress through times of conflict and collaboration. How we manage these moments either reinforces or destroys the relationship. Rather than viewing conflict from an entirely negative frame of reference, we should view it as an opportunity for clarification, learning, growth, and even reinforcement of the relationship. Conflict arises everywhere communication occurs. Effective communicators can predict, anticipate, and that's what I do. I predict conflict and I anticipate conflict. I am a very good communicator. Sometimes I'll admit I go off and I give myself, I'm so selfish with myself sometimes. And that doesn't mean I'm self-centered, but I'm so selfish with myself that if a thought comes through my head and someone's talking to me, you know, I'll think about that thought if it's important enough to think about. And then I have to shut it down and sit up there and come back, you know, to what I was doing. You know, I I just I don't know. Um, I've watched over the course of my dysfunctional life people. family, friends, fight. They fought, classmates. One girl bit another girl in the eye. That's how sick it was. I want y'all to hear that. So I learned how to not even open my mouth. So I watched and I observed. And I predicted that only someone that deserves to be talked about will get talked about. And the people that don't deserve, I have a maintenance man here that did a good job. He came in my house, he measured my stuff, he did a good job. I have, you know, I have the everyone. Without the lady that's sitting that's that away, I couldn't even have got in here without the manager. I'm not saying everyone is bad. I'm not trying to make people look bad. But my glasses, did you see how they look? I predicted that conflict when something was totally wrong and I had to go to the police about it. I urged her to look again. She spited me. She spited me. She said she could not find the product, my product that I paid for, whether $500 or $5. I predicted she wasn't going to give it to me. And then the next day, it shows up after I called the police. And I told her I was calling the police. And if you are innocent, you will be vindicated. It all of a sudden popped up, and I got a package. And then my face started itching for a little bit. So I had to wipe that down very thoroughly with the alcohol pad. That was not a good thing to do to me. Ask yourself this, whether atheist or not. We all have a destination. Your destination in the future, in the further future, we all die eventually. So in between that death, what are you going to tell the other side to get to the good part of what we call heaven versus the bad part of what we call hell? For just the minute thing you did after I tried to be nice. After I tried to be nice. I'm not going to let you rent space in my head no more about this. But I want you to acknowledge that I've acknowledged that you purposely gave me back my merchandise only because I called the police, and you gladly did it, and you gladly called out sick. And my last words are, I gladly don't care. So I anticipated and I formulated strategies to address conflict in order to successfully resolve it. Sometimes you can't resolve conflict with people. Like the book says, some people want conflict. They get a thrill out of that shit. And I despise people like that. It's not funny. It's not cute. It's disgusting. There, I got from 0 to 20. How do you choose to approach conflict and influence in its resolutions? Joseph DeVito offers several conflict management strategies that we have anticipated and expanded on. Let's examine, though, these various responses to conflict, generally from best to worst. When conflict is serious enough that causes a rift within the workplace culture, a hold on, I should know that word. Methodical, collaborative approach, conflict resolution can lead to amicable solution, to an amicable solution. Amicable. Standard procedure in negotiations is a method called grit. What? Developed by Charles E. Osgood at the height of the Cold War. In a situation where two opposing sides are deadlocked. What? Okay, at the Cold War, a method called grit. In a situation, two opposing sides are deadlocked in the Cold War. Grit stands for graduated reciprocation and tension reduction. And what was this? A method? Gradual reduction in tension. One side initiating a breakthrough form in of a concession or compromise on one of its demands. You would put it in a riddle like that. I want to know what that means. I'm gonna come back to that. The norm of oh my God, Re- reciprocity obligates that other side, the other side return the favor with a concession of its own, giving up one of its demands. Both sides build trust through reciprocal compromises back and forth until they reach an amicable solution. Through Osgood's intention was to dull Cold War relations between superpowers. Grit has proven useful in other intentional peace processes between Israel and Egypt, 1977, and even in minor workplace squabbles. Hmm. Let's say you find yourself getting between two conflict parties at your job. On one side is a trusted coworker, Dave. Oh God. And the other manager, Karen, who you like very much. They don't see eye to eye on the way a major aspect of the operation is set up. And it caused a rift that is starting to draw other employees to take sides. That's funny, y'all. Real, real funny. Team Day. You want me to say this guy name? You. Okay, I will do this the right way. Ah. Team Dave doesn't miss opportunities to take pot. I plead the fifth. Pot shots. I never even heard of pot shots. Have y'all heard of pot shots? I haven't heard of pot shots. What's a pot shot? Anyway, Team Dave doesn't miss opportunities to take pot shots at anyone on Team Karen for being management. And Team Karen has been dismissive of Team Dave's concerns, and its members have been threatening to get Team Dave members fired. It doesn't look like this will end well. Your sympathies goes on both sides, so you propose to mediate between them. Applying grit in this situation would look like the following. I know I'm gonna have to write some shit like this. This is gonna be crazy. This is imagination. A doctor wrote this. A bunch of doctors got together and they wrote this. Get both sides to agree and talk formally with another in a meeting room with the goal of resolving the conflict. That is in the fake world, but real world, because my situation didn't happen like that. It was controlled. One minute he was over there with someone else in a group. The next minute he's single. I was in a group with him. Dave. Reasonable human beings will recognize the toxic environment is hindering productivity, is bad for business. But some people get off on conflict. They took so long to turn in the papers. So I turned in the shit. Wouldn't y'all do that shit? Tell me, you guys, tell me. You don't even have to write it down, but you can think in your mind. If team members are purposefully, this wasn't in purposefully, this was most deaf purposely, for sure, just hindering me from my paper and me getting my grade because they like to see the look on my face as I suffer and have to put up with this fake crap that they were trying to pull on me. It has nothing to do with the chamber. It has nothing to do with Walmart. It has nothing to do with Burger King. This has everything to do with what they did to me. I'm not, it was sick. And it's like it really boggled my mind. He went back and told the teacher that I was trying to do things, and it wasn't the truth. It wasn't the truth. I, it's not fair that people get away with stuff. It's not fair that I was mistreated in that semester. That semester really put a thumbprint on my brain. And how you gonna put a thumbprint on your brain? It just doesn't happen. Team Dave knows that it will be a hassle having to look for and secure new jobs. Team Kareem know that letting everyone go and rehiring half of the operation will take time and slow operations down even further. No one wants this, despite everyone taking sides and digging into their own positions until now. The willingness to participate in the conflict resolution process requires that both parties show a concern for rescuing the relationship. After sitting down to talk with one another, actually listening to another concern. Conflict in the workplace often happens when two sides uh, don't understand each other's thinking. And what hurts me, what they did to me, is they didn't want to understand me. I understood Dave. I knew what he was going to do before he even did it based on his behavior. He can be calm as a pickle. I knew he was going to do that. The more I talked to him, the more he sounded decisive, not even decisive, deceitful. He was being deceitful, and that hurts. That hurts my feelings the most. Why? Why would you purposely be deceitful? I never asked you to be leader. You made me be leader. You pushed me to be a leader. So I turned in the paperwork. Sharing each other's thoughts in a mature and controlled way will dispel some of the misunderstandings that led to conflict. And that's what I'm trying to do. One side gets a certain amount of time to state their case uninterrupted. That sounds like the freedom map that I'm trying to build. The other gets the same, and they take turns responding to each other's points. Establish common ground. When two sides are locked in a dispute, they often share more common than they realize. After discussing their differences, movement forward towards a resolution must be involved establishing points of agreement. It always have to come to a resolution, and that breaks my heart that there was never a resolution. This was all just, I don't know if that was what that class was about. You know, the whole class was about me. I don't know. It was so weird. Discuss innovative solutions to the conflict with everyone in the room representing their various interests within the organization and listening to another's concern. Truly cooperative collaboration can begin and identify solutions to operational problems. Take turns exchanging concessions, grit style. Establishing common ground and considering pathways towards operational solutions. Addressing the lingering differences by getting both sides to prioritize them and offer up the lowest priority demands as a sacrifice to the deal you want them to strike. If the other side's like this, the principle of reciprocity, that's not how you say it. Reciprocity compels them to drop their lowest priority demands as well. Both sides go back forth and forth like this with each condition until they reach an agreement. I'm going slow, but I'm trying to read it very carefully so I can read it straight or I can internalize it. That's why I'm messing up, because I'm actually trying to understand the material too. The agreement reached through such a collaborative process is a productive one and helps with reconciliation. Both sides can learn from each other and develop professional from the process. Of course, if you find yourself on one side, such as conflict, You can certainly represent those interests while playing the mediator. If negotiations stall because neither side will budge on contentious demands, calling in a mediator to conduct the negotiation. That is so true. And possibly an arbitrator to decide on what's both fair for both parties is the best way forward. These may be found with an organization or outside. If those available with the organizations are not trained in mediation or in arbitration, it should have been an arbitrator there. The teacher did nothing. And that's why I'm suing. Have you ever seen read or perceived a situation through rage, anger, or frustration? You cannot see or think clearly when you're experiencing strong emotions. There will be times in the work environment where emotions run high. You may regret things you say in the heat of the moment. Your awareness of them can help you clear your mind and choose to wait until the moment has passed to tackle the challenge. Not all emotions involve fear, anger, or frustration. A job loss can be a sort of professional death for many, and the sense of loss can be profound. That's what I'm going to start doing. And that's what I've been practicing. It takes lots and lots of practice to clear your mind. You might as well say, clear your mind and choose to wait until the moment has passed. A job loss can be a professional death for many in a sense. The loss of a colleague to a layoff while retaining your position can bring pain as well as relief and a sense of survivor's guilt. Emotions can be contagious in the workplace, and fear of the unknown can influence people to act in irrational ways. They said it just, it's like it was meant for this. Do y'all hear that, people that fear shit? Fear of the unknown can influence people to act in irrational ways. Everyone had that happen to them. Even the most fluent people. They still try to downplay Trump. I remember there was one episode where Trump had to maneuver. This is the meme I want to see. He was in Canada or at a special event, and there was a group of them walking, and they kind of like walked real fast and left him behind. And then he weaved his way through, and he fucking ended up in the front again. And he kind of like adjusted his. Now that would have been a cool meme. That is, I mean, real. That is a cool reel. I don't know if y'all seen that before. Irrational ways. The wise workplace communicator recognizes when emotions are extreme in themselves or others and choose the way to communicate until after the dust has settled and the moment has passed. Said it again. Thank you. You said it twice. Clear your mind until the moment has passed. After the dust has settled and the moment has passed. That takes discipline, and not many people can do it. Empathy is when you feel for someone because you know how they feel based on their similar experiences. I feel empathy for all women, all men. I feel empathy for you guys. Like, you can have the most perfect relationship, but be lacking something. And I may be alone, but I have the most uh, perfect relationship balance with myself and God. I want y'all to do something for me. Not many people can do it. Spend time alone and talk to God alone. It just don't seem right, right? That's how we've been conditioned without being conditioned. The ability to put yourself in someone else's shoes is essential to emotional intelligence, which is vital to effective communication. Using empathy in conflict situations is helpful. I swear, I'll admit, I say things I don't mean. I'm not perfect. I don't live by, I cannot shelter or filter my mouth when I get mad. Now, physical contact, I don't do. No, never will ever happen again. Not on my watch. And I just wish, I'm glad I said it so that some people can wake up. Whatever I said over the course of the 5 years I've been doing this, I don't regret it, but I apologize. Because some people didn't want to hear it and it caused them to change their ways. Some people said that's true. Some people said F me. Some people said F me now. Who knows? I am saying this to people because all your life, not yours personally, as in yours, don't take this personal, but the person that needs to hear it, you had no empathy. You only had a small circle and you had no empathy. We we as people should have more empathy. Dave did not have empathy for me. For example, a coworker might be feeling extremely distraught, but express it indirectly by saying, I would like to just focus on the positives. Listening, empathetic means detecting emotional pain motivated for a desire for more uplifting news. With that understanding, you may be wise to change your approach from one that may have first been confrontational to one that's more sympathetic and helpful. Being supportive versus defensive. Control, evaluation, judgments. I focus on the truth. Points are truth, factual evidence. Show me the evidence. No one turned in their papers except me at first. Show me the evidence. It's time stamped. Ouch. It's time stamped. And who computer is coming from? It's time stamped that we were in Google Those are the points I'm talking about. I had supportive communication. I didn't care about your personalities. I thought we were all in it for the grade. Defensive was you controlling the situation, vindictively controlling it, evaluating me like I tore your heart out when I would never do some shit like that, and judgments. Our ability to listen can be diminished, and we may only hear the negative message. By choosing to focus on the message instead of the messenger, we keep the discussion supportive and professional. Instead of focusing on Trump, focus on his message. He brought peace to the world. Whether we like to agree or not, he brought peace to the world. You know, not how, what kind of power does one white man can perform? How can he perform peace and war at the same time to take out the bad guys type Batman sense? What kind of man would do that? You got some men that play around with trucks and toys and houses and boats. This man is building real estate. This man is he is building outside of the universe right now, possibly. Who knows? We are on SpaceX watch. By choosing to focus on the message instead of the messenger, we will keep a supportive and professional. Conflict is targeted. When we say someone is thrown under the bus, we use this violent image to refer how language is weaponized to target individuals by name or role in a blame game. That is the best way to put it. My interpretation is thrown under the bus is you try to push me under the bus to save yourself. This face detracting strategy comprises of the respect, integrity, and credibility of the targeted person. On the other hand, face-saving strategies protect credibility and separate the message from the messenger. Credibility. My credibility is everything to me. I wouldn't have met Damon John over via phone. Via phone, he had faith in me, and I apologize to him to this day, but he had faith in me. I kept liking his status. It was a conference going on, 3 million people, 6 key note speakers. I don't know where the footage went. Just like, anyway, so he was like, Kimberly Cloud. I said, what the fuck? I said, I know he is not doing this for me. I cannot believe just because seriously, he just says my name and I'm on there. And mind you, I am at a shelter, a battered women shelter, where women, I have it on speaker, start yip yapping like what happened previously, like what I said. It's like a demonic being that follows me. And they get inside of these women. It's something spiritual going on. I'm sorry. I notice it every time. I don't know what it is. I'm not saying I'm all that, but I notice it. So this black woman at this battered women's shelter in Philadelphia starts yelling. And I'm trying to talk to Damon John. Once she knew I was on the line, she started yip yapping. And I sounded so uninterested in that footage. And that's probably why they gave it a they don't have it publicly to view. They were experimenting. And we talked for 3 minutes, and that was long enough for me to know that I need to take Blue Cloud to a new extreme level. It may take me some time, but I will rebirth Blue Cloud Cleaning Company. And yeah, so conflict is targeted when we say that someone, oh yeah, I said that. This face distracting strategy. On the other hand, face-saving strategies protect credibility and separate the message from the messenger. For example, you might say sales were down this quarter without specifically noting who was responsible for it. Sales were simply down. However, you did ask how the sales manager explains the decline in sales. You have specifically connected an individual with the negative news. While we may want to specifically connect tasks and job responsibilities to individuals and departments, each strategy has distinct results. Face distracting strategies often produce defensive communication climate that inhabits listening and makes little room for collaboration. To save face, on the other hand, is raised by issues while preserving a supportive climate, making room for constructive discussion and problem solving. By using face saving strategy to save the emphasis from the individual to the issue, we avoid power struggles and petty personal politics. By using face saving strategy. Well said, Donahue and Clark. The issue, it wasn't about the individual, it was about the issue. And we avoid power struggles and petty personal conflicts. Face saving strategies are common communicative strategies in collective cultures where the community well-being is promoted or valued above that of the individual. In Japan, for example, to confront someone directly is perceived as a supremely humiliating insult. In the United States as well as Canada, to some extent, a greater emphasis on individual performance lead to far or more face detracting behavior. If your goal is to solve a problem and preserve a working relationship, however, you may wish to limit yourself to face saving strategies in negative situations. Well said. Backpacking. If your organization has gone through a merger and your business has transformed, for instance, you may endure conflicts in transition. Hold on to the way things used to be can like a heavy weight in your backpack and influence how you interpret your current context. People may be aware of similar issues but might not know your history and cannot see your backpack or its contents. This is freaking me out. For example, you may be frustrated and stressed out by the way your new manager handles things differently. This sounds like a Keenan and Peele. Like, I think that your dish is so good, but yet grotesque in the nicest, disgusting way. You can be like, is that a good thing? It is if you were disgusted, but yet satisfied internally. This is not a negative. It sounds what I'm saying is negative, but what I'm saying, they get what I'm saying. Whoever wrote this gets what I'm saying. It was a weird example, I'll admit. Just a little bit. Is it a little weird? I don't know. For example, you may be frustrated and stressed out by the way your manager handles things different from your previous manager. All your new manager see is tension rather than how things were in the past. Thank you. And that's why I want the Chamber of Commerce to know I have no intention on messing up crap. I just, all I ask is what you're doing now. Look, what you're doing now is perfect. Keep that up. Don't let that change once my mouth get going. You want to know who I am truly and who I want to be and who I truly am, then ask and I will tell you like I did earlier. I'm not asking us to ride off in the sunset together. I'm not saying it's going to be a perfect heavenly relationship, but a respect is all I ask. And you did that. And I appreciate you guys. So it's no conflict. Okay. All your new man. And the last thing is, I come for business. I don't come for an ulterior motive. This isn't a dating scene. This isn't a rendezvous session. This is strictly business. By addressing and unpacking, oh my God, what is going on? The stones you carry by talking about them openly and respectfully can better assess the current situation and the current patterns and variables. Avoidance. Avoidance can be unhealthy or healthy. Response to conflict, depending on its severity. Rising above the trivial bickering is wise, whereas ignoring a serious conflict that threatens to pollute the work atmosphere and hinder productivity just contributes to the toxicity. The latter case, you may choose to change the subject, leave the room, or not even enter the room in the first place, but the conflict will remain and resurface when you least expect it. And that's when I need to expect it. I'm ready for you next time. Reluctant, I'm mad. No, I'm just flat. No, there's reluctance to address the conflict directly is a normal response. Um, one that many cultures value. Direct confrontation is more common than individualistic cultures, whereas collectivist cultures tend to use more direct, indirect strategies. Avoidance, which I do, allows for more time to resolve the problem, but can also increase costs associated with the problem in the first place. Your organization and business will have policies and protocols to following regarding conflict and redress, but it is always wise to consider the position of your controversial partner or opponent and give them, as well as yourself, time to explore the alternatives. Escalating. Like avoidance, whether escalating conflict is appropriate or inappropriate response depending on the importance of the issue and how it's done to escalate it. Escalating the conflict include overreacting to a trivial issue, getting loud. I hate getting loud. Only reason I get loud, it's not my emotion. It's because I want the person on the other end of that phone, that computer, that tablet, whatever you're that to feel what I'm saying. That beeper, I'm going to beep what I say. Beep, 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 beep. It don't even sound like a regular beeper. They like, oh, this Kimberly getting loud, using offensive language. I cannot help it. I, I don't mean to do that. I really don't. I try not to use offensive language, drawing others into the fray, and even getting violent, which are clearly negative responses. I don't get violent. Violence happens to me only in my whole life. Um, 3 times have I been violent. One in basic training, when I had to hit someone who hit me with a pole stick and knocked me unconscious. Um, that didn't go too well, right? So then my cousin, my niece, my brother using energy transference and his evilness caused the tension between me and my niece that caused me to engagely hit her first, which I didn't even want to hit her. Other than that, I have and what happened to me when I went to was in jail for assault. I was given methamphetamine in my tincture. They cheated. The Democrats had to cheat to win. I was staying at a shelter then, and one lady said the FBI is going to get you. I just feel for Trump because I say to myself, which how many of them are still hiding amongst you right now in the CIA, NSA, FBI, police that isn't right wing, that has ulterior motives. Not only isn't there right wing, but they have ulterior motives. So thought I heard something. Um Escalating the conflict can include overreacting. Okay, I read that. These reactions are seen by employers as only an agent, someone invisible or freaking stealth would do that to mess up my video footage because I'm trying to figure out what was that sound just now. It sounded like a bag. I'm looking directly at the bag, but the bag isn't moving. The bag is just sitting there, still as a lamb. So what was that sound? It was right in the house. It sounded like the bag, just somebody touched it just a bit. These reactions are seen by employers as a liability. Oh my God, like I said it in the beginning. Employers see them as liabilities because they suggest an inability to manage emotions. True. If a serious issue, and it looks like I'm poisonous, but I'm not. If a serious issue that needs resolving, however, and you escalate it by bringing it to attention of the supervisor or manager because it falls within the realm of responsibility, you're doing the right thing. Let's read this. As we move forward, it will be critical for you to understand how to work together to accomplish the chance and change management at hand. I am providing guiding correlation of team profiles for you to review in order to put together a team agreement. The team can be stronger than the sum of its parts, but only if we work together to maximize every team member's strength. I have everything to give to a team. I have what I have. I if they give me a chance, whatever team, I hope he strategically put me in a good team. That's all I ask. And I don't want to say what I'm gonna ask him next. I'm gonna write it to him right now, about the team members that I had prior to that. Or I can just wait to see what team members he picks for me, and I will see if any of them are in the class or anything. You know, I haven't even looked. I could care less. The all employment meeting seemed to go over well, all things considered. You have continued to meet the guiding coalition under your agreed rules and responsibilities, and the team is gearing up to move into the next phase of this change management process. The CEO, who has been out for a few days at a seminar, reaches out to the group via a teleconference. Sorry I cannot be there with you, but I wanted to repeat my gratitude for all your work so far. The all employee meeting was important to set up and getting started. Now I want to make sure we are as clear about our goals as we have been about the problem we're taking on. We need to be able to describe what change will look like for both the current stakeholders and those to come. Let's envision a future state for me or beyond the drop of our turnover rate. What do we want our workplace to be like in this retention? Retention, for those who don't know, mean holding on to good employees, I think. I'll be back in a couple of days and I'll look at your vision statements then. I have to run, but I'll be glad to answer any questions you have by email or when I return. Good work, everyone. Teleconference ends. I sound just like Biden. Remember, he'd be like, in prompter. This will be a marvelous and glorious future for the Democrats. In prompter. If y'all take me off of their TikTok, I'm going to be very mad. The third step of the Carter's model is to envision the intended future once change is fully realized, particularly in the terms of organizational culture. See if you can identify workplace norms at me.org that will need to change in order to turn over the tide on employee departures. How would these norms need to differ to improve retention? Refer back to the turnover analysis, which is the firing, both involuntary and voluntary, in the focus group summary, which I don't remember. I don't remember. Now imagine the experience of working at me.org would be like once the factors you identify have changed. Write down your answers to the following questions. You will submit them as a part of your next deliverable. Describe 3 ways which me.org future will be different from how me.org is today. Name 3 future organizational values and beliefs needed to support. Oh, that is not that easy. Me.org came long way. I remember when there was a guy or a girl. It started with a guy or a girl that had a lot of pressure from the manager. And then it gets a little cloudy from there. And then now me.org had statistics last semester. Their assets from their liabilities to the sum, stocks and bonds. Describe. Now I am curious to know, do you want me to describe 3 ways in which me.org's future will be different from how me.org is today? Now, how do I know what me.org is like? Let's watch the video. I'm skimming through this one, but I'll read it the next time I come on here because it's something I'm trying to find. Am I a subculture? Am I subculture? Subculture. Okay. Oh, well, duh, Kim. I love graphs now. It don't get me with a bell-shaped curve or a cat and whisker plot, but basic 12th grade or college, I'm good. I want that. I like these statistics. Once you learn about it, you know, you I'm in elementary statistics, not no advanced statistics. If it's so beautiful how all statistics are different. I took statistics in psychology. I took statistics in my uh, bachelor's, my master's, and now this master's I surpassed the statistics class that I took with hell. Hell, I was pulling my hair out. It was terrible. What little bit of hair I have, I love these statistics. I have to read that. That's part two of our adventures together. Cannot wait to read this. I got that. I'm gonna go ahead and post that. Post this one. More statistics. So now this is the statistics of my org, not me org. I've been saying me org for like 3 semesters. And my org is this is more statistics. I love statistics now. Just don't give me too hard of the statistics. Don't put me in Excel. I will never get over the hell I endured in Excel. Oh my God. If it was a 16-week course, I would have been screwed. Okay. Where are y'all at? Okay, everybody, I want to thank you guys. We have been going, we're almost at 2 hours, you guys, and I appreciate you guys for watching and chilling with me. I will be back on here in the next hour. I'll give myself an hour. Yes, an hour. I have nothing to do and everything again. I gotta call some places. So give me about an hour and I will be back on here to do part two of my reading session. Thank you.